Hello and welcome back to the Madison Monte's Knitting Podcast. My name is Madison and I am coming to you from my home in New York City. We just rearranged our living room a few weeks ago, so now I've got this little chair and the mantle. I've decorated a little bit for Christmas, and we have yet to still get a tree. This is the first year that I'm spending Christmas in New York. And not going back to my hometown in the Midwest. So we're gonna get a Christmas tree from one of the little sidewalk stands that are, completely overpriced, but it'll be cute. Just like a little one, nothing crazy. So I'm looking forward to that. I think we're gonna do that this next weekend, but I am excited for today's episode because I have quite a few finished objects, which I was feeling like I wasn't really finishing knits all that much for the last couple of months, although I did finish 2 sweaters for Rhinebeck, but I do have quite a few things that have been on my needles for a long time, and I'll talk about that later, but I have a lot of plans to kind of wrap up my lingering whips for the end of the year, but first, let's get into my finished objects and then we'll talk about some whips. I have some spinning and some weaving stuff that I want to share, but I'm going to try to just briefly touch on everything so that this isn't too long. And yeah, let's get into it. My first finished object is a sweater, which was a whip in my last episode. This was a test knit for Joanna. It is her Donna Jenna pullover. It is now released, available on Ravelry, and I love it. I would be wearing it right now, except that it is like 30 degrees this morning, and my kitty cat wants to join. And that means that our radiators are on full blast. So it's a little too warm in this apartment right now to be wearing a wool sweater, but when I have to leave later this afternoon, I will be putting this on. It is knit in Nutiden, which is unspun yarn. Here's a little close-up. Beautiful, beautiful cables. This pattern actually requires 2 cable needles because you're doing some of these larger ones, you're knitting like front and back. I don't know how to explain it. I'm not like an expert on cables to really know know the correct explanation, but it did require 2 cable needles, which was a first for me. And I knit this all in, let's see, size 8 for the ribbing, US needle, US size 8. And the sleeve has some nice long ribbing to it. The bottom has some ribbing. And then the rest of the body, including the cables, I knit in a US size 10 needle. I believe the pattern calls for using a 10.5, which I can't remember what the millimeters on that is now. And then the stockinette is in a US 10, but I did not have a US 10.5 needle. So I just did a 10 for the cables, and part of the way through I was a little worried that maybe I should have sized up to a US 11 just to get it more spaced out and kind of airiness to the cables, but blocking really fixed kind of every concern that I had. So I am so excited. Again, I knit this in Nutiden, held double. The colorway was called Rodnad. It's in Swedish, so that's probably completely wrong pronunciation, but I have notes in my Ravelry page. If you would like to check out any more info on this, it will be linked below. I'm super happy with this. The pattern comes with 2 sleeve options. There's a balloon sleeve and a straight sleeve option. I opted for the straight sleeve, and I really, really love the look of it. The fit is fabulous. I think this might be one of my better fitting sweaters that I've made in terms of like a round yoke sweater. I followed the pattern to a T. I don't think I made any modifications, maybe other than lengthening the body slightly, but I have notes in my Ravelry page as to the exact lengths that I knitted before either doing the ribbing or splitting for sleeves and such. But what was I gonna say about the yoke? Oh, I was a little worried that I had split too early since I was following the pattern, and I was trying it on and it was fitting, but I was like, oh, this is like slightly shorter than what I usually knit for a round yoke sweater. But then after blocking and everything, I feel like the fit is really, really perfect. It is definitely shorter, but it's like right, I think, where it needs to be. And you know, you don't get that swan show, like whenever you lift up your arms, your sweater also raises up. This fit is really, really nice. So I am super, super excited about how this came out. And I also knit it in a month. I mean, it was on a US 10, so that definitely helps. But I hit the deadline for the test knit and everything. I was very proud of myself. And yeah, I think it's really beautiful. So I am happy with this. I think this is gonna be my last sweater for myself. Well, pending, I have a cardigan whip, the big Cozy Cardi, that is still haunting me. So if I finish that this year, that will be my last sweater whip. Otherwise, this is my last sweater for the year, I think. And no plans to cast on any new sweaters, except for myself, I should say. And for myself, my boyfriend has been asking for a sweater for some time now, and I have yarn for it, I have a pattern, and I need to cast it on. I wanted to make him one for Christmas this year, and I haven't casted it on yet, so I'm hoping to do that soon, and then we'll see. Maybe I finish it just shortly after Christmas. I don't know. I have 2 finished hats to share with you, and I haven't finished a hat or even really knit a hat for at least a year, maybe longer. I don't know. It's been a while, and having these 2 on my needles made me want to cast on like so many more hats. I feel like I have quite a bit of hat knitting in my future coming up. They're just so nice and portable, and I love that it's kind of, yeah, it's something different than a sock that I can carry around, but it's still small enough where it's not crazy to like have it on me. First one is my Oslo Hat Mohair edition. This is knit in Sandnes Garn. Yeah, it's so cute. Can you tell that I'm like loving the pink right now? It's knit in Sandnes Garn Sunday and the Sandnes Garn Tynn Silk Mohair, which I picked up at Pick Up Every Stitch in Mount Kisco, New York. We made a stop there on our way to Rhinebeck in October, and I just couldn't resist this pink color. It's so cute. And I've been wearing this ever since it dried on the blocking mats. I was like anxiously awaiting for it to be not damp anymore. And perfect timing because, as I mentioned, it like just feels like it just fully turned to winter overnight in New York. It's been cold, it's hat season, it's scarf season, I've got my mittens out. So this hat is already getting a lot of love. I really, really love the brim feature here. It just feels so nice and snug and like really warm, and I love it. I want to make more of the Oslo hat. I think I would also love to make the like non-mohair version. So loving this. And I knit this on a US 3, which I believe is what the pattern calls for. And I just love that it was all stockinette. Oh, it was so nice. So love this one for sure. My next hat is also pink, and it is the Harlow Hat by Andrea Mowry. And this one is knit in my handspun. Sometimes I feel like I don't know how to wear hats correctly. I also made it much longer than the pattern calls for because I wanted a brim. I don't love non-brimmed hats. I don't know how everyone else feels about them, but I like a brim because I feel like it just keeps it in place more. And this is my handspun. So this was like my first, I've knit with handspun in like little bits, like as color work and a sweater, and stuff like that. So this was my first like 100% handspun project, and I'm so happy with how it turned out. This handspun is from a braid of Nest Fiber. I believe it was, I am in the Nest Fiber monthly fiber club, so I get a braid every month, and this one I believe was from January or February earlier this year. I spun it over the summer. It came out to be, it was like a pretty solid fingering weight. It is Polworth, so I feel like it kind of bloomed really nicely. And yeah, I didn't really think too hard about the color management when I was spinning this. I believe I just split the braid in half and then split each half again and then just spun end to end. So it matched up in quite a few spots, which I really loved, like this red stripe kind of down here. Like I love how that color pairing worked, and then it got to be a little, there's some like barber pulling in other areas. So yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. And this hat is brioche, which I do not have very much brioche experience at all. So that was really fun. I was very focused when I was working on it because I did not want to make a mistake, because I wasn't confident that I would be able to fix my mistakes in brioche, just because I am such a noob there. But I really enjoyed this, and I definitely want to do some more brioche in the future. And I knit this on a US size 2. The pattern, I believe, calls for like you cast on with a 2 and then you switch to a US 3. But I was worried just with how thin this yarn was in some parts. I was worried that switching to a larger needle would create like too much openness in the fabric. So I just did the whole thing on a US 2, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So yay! Love this. I think for both of these, what did I knit? I think both of these are the adult small size. If I remember correctly, it will be in my Ravelry page for sure. So yeah, those are the hats. And I really want to make some more handspun hats. I feel like that's like a perfect, if you just have like a one-off braid, just have 4 ounces of fiber, you can spin enough for a hat. And I'm so happy with it. Anyway, my last finished object today is a pair of socks. This is the Hermione Everyday Sock, which is a free pattern on Ravelry. It's great, would highly recommend. Just has like a really, really nice texture pattern to it. And yeah, I knit this on a US 1, which is what I knit all of my socks on, 64 stitches, and the yarn is Craft Me Not Yarn Co. I'm not sure the colorway because I inherited this skein from my mom's stash. I stole it from her. Not really, she gave it to me. And I love it. I really love a speckled yarn for a simpler sock pattern. I think it just is cute. I feel like I don't really use speckled yarn for much else other than socks, but this one is great. I think it was like an 80/20 superwash merino nylon base, and the only modification I made to the pattern is doing a fish lips kiss heel instead of the heel flapping gusset that it calls for. And I love the fish lips kiss heel so much. I think the fit is great. I love the process. It goes so fast and you can just keep, chugging along on your sock. So yeah, I casted these on in May of this year. So these kind of were lingering around for a sock project, and I was very, very happy to get it done. It was time. It was time for some new socks. And actually now that it's cold and it's kind of, we have the radiator. We live in an old building, so we have the radiator heat, which is like a sauna at some points, but you still get a kind of draftiness to the apartment. And I've been noticing that my feet are getting really cold, and I've been wanting some more not handspun. I would like to make a pair of handspun and hand knit socks, but I am really itching for more hand knit socks, and I have quite a big sock yarn stash, and so I'm kind of thinking of making this next year the year of socks for me. 2024 is going to be a year of socks. I wanted that to happen this year, and I got distracted. So now I've got a lot of sock plans for this next year. And yeah, I'm also feeling like I'm kind of running out of space for new sweaters and like bigger knits. So I'm kind of ready to refocus to accessories and and work through my stash, of course. Okay, now I'm going to breeze through my whips. And then I have a few little Advent things that I want to mention for this next month that I'm super, super excited about. And yeah, and we'll go from there. So I was so happy to finish I finished that sweater this last month, and then I felt like I casted off quite a few little accessories, and I am now really wanting to finish up some lingering whips before the year ends. So the first one that I've pulled back out is my big Cozy Cardi, which of course I'm at the collar, which is single strand Suri, so I promise I've made progress, even if it looks like I haven't. It is, knitting this definitely feels so slow going, and yeah, but we're working on it. This is definitely a product knit for me, especially at this point. If you've been following along for this whole year, you know that this has been an extremely slow going project for me. Let's see, I'm trying to get it to show you. It's just, a big Cozy Cardi. Of course, the collar is all bunched up on the needle right now, but this is what we're working with. I am determined to not bring this into the new year, even if I'm up on New Year's Eve knitting away. I want to get as close to finish as I possibly can. I've talked about this quite a bit, I feel like, in past episodes, but all the details are going to be on the Ravelry page. I'm using Sawkill Farm sport weight yarn that I purchased at Rhinebeck now 2 Rhinebecks ago. and love that. And this is a Woolberry Suri that I'm using for the collar. So yeah. My other lingering whip is my pressed flower shawl. If you follow me on Instagram, then you may have seen that I pulled this back out this last week because I'm so close to binding off. It's crazy. I think I have 10 more rows or so of the border chart to do, and then I can be done with it. So this one is, of course, also all bunched up on the needle, but there's the border chart. You can just see the border has like just more flowers than the rest of the shawl. There it is. So fun. This project makes me so happy every time that I work on it, even though there's like a million stitches at this point, it feels like. I am knitting this in handspun for the flowers, and the green is Explorer Knits, their Rockies DK base. I think the colorway is called Prickly Pear. That's what I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. I don't know. Oh, here's a tag. I don't know if it's from a collection or what. I bought it off of a D-stash somewhere. But love the color, and I think it's a great pairing for this handspun, which is like really crazy, really multicolored and bright. But it is so fun. Some of my like favorite yarn that I've made. I spun this earlier this year in February. This is all from the Nest Fiber Valentine Advent. It was a 14-day Advent. Each day I spun an ounce of fiber, and then I just plied it all together. I am getting a Nest Fiber Christmas Advent, just the 12-day. And I think I'm going to do something different with my Advent, or with the Christmas Advent, than I did with the Valentine Advent, and I'm very excited. And I think I might use it for weaving. It's been really fun to knit with this and kind of like learn about my spinning. This is definitely on the thicker side, I think, than what the pattern calls for, but I think it's gonna block out okay, and I'm just keeping my fingers crossed. So that is fun. And yeah, I can't wait for this to be done. Here's another lingering whip. I think I'm gonna talk about this and one more thing and then move on. Yeah, because I have limited time today. This is a pair of socks that I've had sitting around for, I think, also this entire year on the needles. So I am knitting the DRK Everyday Sock, and this is Woolens and Nosh yarn. It's from Denise of the Earth Tones Girl. Her, I don't know if you call it a collab with Woolens and Nosh. It's her yarn, but it's dyed by Woolens and Nosh. So it's their Targhee sock base, which I love so much. And I had knit this yarn up into a pair of vanilla socks. They turned out way too big. So I ripped it out because the yarn was too good not to have in a pair of socks that actually fits. And I've been reknitting it into DRK Everyday Socks, which really is my favorite sock pattern, I think. I mean, I'm really liking how the Hermione Everyday Socks are fitting, but the ribbing just fits so nicely, even though it is like not as fun to knit, maybe. And I do like the toe-up construction quite a bit. So, yes, I'm on the gusset increases for the second one, and after finishing my Hermione Everyday Socks, I pulled this project back out because I need a project to just have for on the go, and commuting and such. So I'm excited to have these finished. Hopefully soon. All 3 of these things I would love to have done by the end of the year, but December always flies by so much faster than I want it to. So we will see. Those are goals. My last whip that I want to talk about is really, really cute. Something very different for me. I have a few friends that are pregnant right now, and that's exciting, but it means that I need to make some baby knits for them. And I picked up the, picked up the Moosh and Friends book from my local yarn store, Knitty City. Shout out to Knitty City. They have a great book selection. And so yeah, picked up Moosh and Friends. It's so cute. For my one friend, I've decided to make Hazel a squirrel. She's having twins, actually. So Hazel a squirrel is one, and then I'm also going to make Billy the raccoon. So I've just started with Hazel, and she's got little eyes. You can see, obviously she's not stuffed yet. And yeah, I'm just at the body. Next will be the legs, and then she'll have a little tail. And I want to just knit her a little sweater. I think in the book she has, all of them have an outfit that they, an outfit with the pattern or whatever that you can make. But, and hers is like a checkered dress, but I think I want to just make her a little sweater. And yeah, she's so cute. So this has been fun. It's very different. It's not a mindless knit. I have to sit with the book open. I sit with the book open on my lap and then knit away. It is very much like line by line each line is different, is what I'm trying to say. I was feeling a little overwhelmed when I first was looking at the patterns, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of steps. It's like pages and pages. But it is very seamless and like very well written out, and I have not had any difficulty with knitting this so far. And Cinthia, the author, I mean, this book is just amazing. So it comes with a whole section. I mean, there's notes on like everything, on like the supplies you could need. And she has all of these lessons with these amazing diagrams. So at each kind of step of the animal, it'll be like, oh, see lesson 4 or whatever, for notes on like how to do something. And that is very, very helpful. And I just am so excited. It's so tiny too. It is on a US, or I'm knitting this on a US 0. And yeah, this is, I'm using some Suri mini skeins that I had laying around. And I think it only requires, like, I think for most of them, the main color, like the body color, really only requires 20 grams or less of mostly fingering weight. I think some are written in sport weight. But so it's a great like little stash buster, scrap buster project too. So that'll be fun. The babies are due end of January, so I would love to get Hazel and Billy out the door to my friend before the new year would be ideal. So yeah, I just want to talk quickly about my advents that I have here. I was so excited this last weekend. I was resisting like opening them up because I didn't want to tempt myself with peeking at them, but I finally let myself open them this last weekend and get them all set up because I wanted to have them situated with the fireplace and everything. So this first one is a classic 24-day mini skein advent from Chelsea Yarns. I think I mentioned on my last podcast that I had ordered this. I have been looking forward to this all year. I ordered it in April, I think, is when her pre-order went up. And I'm so excited. I haven't peeked at all, so I'm excited. But I've been thinking already of like what I want to do with it. And not that I'm going to do anything in December. I want to see the whole thing and like have a photo of all of the mini skeins with each other at the end of the month. But I have been wanting to make a blanket and kind of wanting to learn how to crochet. I've never really crocheted before. So this last month I decided to just practice with some scraps of fingering weight yarn because I really like the look of the Battenberg blanket. I think I mentioned a different knit blanket in my last podcast. And then like after that I was like, you know what? I'm just going to learn how to crochet and we're going to do the blanket that I want to make, which is the Battenberg blanket. And Nitty Natty has been making it with one of her advents from last year, and I think it just looks really pretty. It's like solid granny squares, and then you kind of lay it out with a neutral in between. So we're gonna see, I don't know what, so that's another thing, is like I want to open up the advent and see what it all looks like and then decide what kind of neutral I would want to pair with it. But I've been practicing my crochet. You guys, look at these little squares. They're so cute. So these are just little fingering weight scraps that I had laying around. So I might try to like practice and practice like joining them together, because obviously I've only gotten as far to create like a few squares, and I've been using a D hook, which is 3.25 millimeters. And the Battenberg blanket is a free pattern online, on Ravelry, which is also great. And I'm blanking on the author's name, the designer's name now, but she has a lot of tutorial videos that go along with it. So I was watching all of those, and my first few squares were like definitely a little wonky, but I think I'm kind of getting the hang of it, and I'm really enjoying kind of like the little crochet process. Nitty Natty did like this square is to pattern size, so they're pretty tiny. And I know Nitty Natty did like an extra round around to make them slightly larger. I might do that as well to test it out and see. So that is that advent. I'm so excited. I need to run. I keep looking at my watch because I've got to go. Last thing is my Woolens and Nosh advent, which I'm also so excited. Everything about this podcast I'm like so excited about. Woolens and Nosh, I had the Woolens and Nosh advent last year, and I brought my socks to show you. I don't know if I ever showed them off in a podcast episode, but this is the advent sock from last year. Woolens and Nosh does self-striping yarn, and I'm so excited. So I love these socks so much. I wear them all the time. And this year, I've got it. I'm so excited. And yeah, so I've got like my needles in here. I need to wind this mini skein up so I can start and get my toes done before December 1st. So basically the gist is, and I did this last year, I'm going to do it again this year. I'm going to do the DRK everyday sock, because then you can do working toe up. You can kind of knit as long as you want them to be. And so you have the mini skein color, which you is obviously not a surprise. So I'm gonna knit the toes with this skein. And then Michelle at Woolens and Nosh sends the skein already divided. So you've got the two cakes right here. And this is the same color as the mini skein. And so basically what you can do is just knit from this little bag, you know, knit one sock from here, the other sock from here, and each day the color will be a surprise. And then you'll, in between each stripe is just like a single stripe of the mini skein color. So once you reach the mini skein color again, you know to stop for the day, and then you can pick it up the next day and it'll be a surprise, which I just think is so fun. And it's so doable for like a daily Advent activity. So yeah, I'm very, very, very excited for this. And December 1st is only, well, today is Wednesday, the 29th, so it's a few days away. Hopefully this video is going up on December 1st. So happy Advent season. So excited. And yeah, so that's everything that I wanted to talk about today in terms of knitting. I wanted to share some clips of my spinning. I've been having so much fun making bats. I have a dozen bats that I've made that I am planning on selling in a couple weeks. I'll put a link in the description box to sign up for a email newsletter in case you're interested in buying a bat. They are all a combination of fleece that I've hand processed here in my New York City apartment, and combined with hand-dyed fiber that I've kind of curated, and I'm very excited about it. I've previewed some of it on my Instagram, and I will have more previews going up soon. Just need to get everything situated. I made a few that are kind of the same combination, same fiber makeup, I don't know what you want to call it, of the bats that I'm planning on selling. I've made a few for myself to spin, and so I'm going to show you a clip of that. And that's been a fun thing. I don't know that I'll do it again. It was a lot of work just carding up 12. Felt like a lot. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. It's just like a fun little experiment. Wanted to share some fiber with people, and yeah. Other than that, I've been, I guess also on the spinning front, I have my Nest Fiber Christmas Advent that is coming. I'm very excited for that. For the Valentine Advent, I did an Instagram reel every day. I don't think I'm going to do that again for this Advent. But I will be sharing that probably on Instagram. And I will also share it here when it's done. Also would love to get some spindle spinning done throughout December. I've been neglecting my Turkish spindles, and I really enjoy that, even though it takes so much longer to finish a spin on a Turkish spindle. And then last thing is weaving. I've been feeling kind of pulled back into the weaving world, and I have been working on, I just wanted to share this quickly. I've been working on a draft. I don't know what the right word is. I'm almost done with the current warp that's on my loom. And it is a draft from this brown book of weaving, which is mostly overshot, if not all overshot patterns. I really, really love everything in here, and I want to try out more, but I've been weaving this Union Roads draft up. So this is a kind kind of original sample of it, I guess. And then this is the draft that I've been following. And yeah, so maybe next time I'll have that off of the loom and I can show you more of a finished piece of that. I will put in a clip of that weaving in progress here as well. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season, and I will see you soon.